Advisory Committee. I'm Stephen Schmitz, Chair to the committee. And how would you like to handle introductions, Dana? I can't remember.
Stephen, if you would like, I can just read off the list of attendees. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm Dana Trey with the Sonoma County Transportation Authority. We have Ken Eichstadt, City of Petaluma, Elizabeth Tyree, Regional Parks, Edie Takata, City of Rohnert Park, Ben Kageyama, City of Healdsburg, Wendy, City of Sonoma, Chris Barney, SCTA, James Cameron, SCTA. Sorry, people are jumping around. Mona Ibrahim, Town of Windsor, Ross Clendenin, SCTA, James Cameron, SCTA, Zeno, I believe representing just as a member of the public, Shauna Gauze, SCTA, David Ripperda, SCTA, Barry Bergman, W-Trans, Orlando Ramirez, Caltrans District 4, Janet Spillman, SCTA, Nancy Adams, City of Santa Rosa, Chris Bearden, SMART, Rafael Miranda, City of Cloverdale, Dan Bell, I believe member of the public. Unmute yourself and correct me if I'm wrong. And Jenna Scott, I believe, is a member of the public as well. Again, correct me if that's not right. And then we have someone calling in from a phone number ending in 0385. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
That's me. This is Rafael Cloverdale. I had to call in. My computer's not recognizing the. Anyway, sorry. That's me.
All right. Thanks, Rafael. All right. I think that, did I miss anyone? All right. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Dana. So moving on to item 2, approval of the meeting notes from May 24th. And took a quick look at them. They looked pretty good to me. Are there any comments or questions about the May 24th meeting notes? Okay, then can I get a motion to approve the meeting notes?
This is a motion to approve the meeting notes.
Thanks, Ken.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Wendy. Seeing no objections, meeting notes are approved for May 24th. On to item number 3, public comments from anyone on items not already on the agenda.
I have a comment. I'm not sure if there's a raise hand function here.
Yes, there should be, but that's okay. Go ahead, Jenna.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Jenna Scott. I recently moved to Santa Rosa for my new job in Petaluma as a civil engineer. I moved here from Philadelphia, where I thought a lot about bike and pedestrian and public transit. So I'm really excited to be here and contribute here. I wanted to start with 2 suggestions for the active transportation plan that's coming up. One tiny one and one medium-sized one. The tiny one, I would love if the bike routes map, instead of having just the legend labeled class 1, class 2, class 3, if they were labeled separated bike path, you know, bike lane, because when you're on a bike pulled over at an intersection trying to figure out how to get home, the last thing you want to be doing is Googling like Federal Transit Authority bike route definitions. So that would make it really useful for me, at least, and I'm sure a lot of other people. The second thing is I would love to see a sidewalk inventory. because even though that map also shows pedestrian trails, it's really hard to get where you're going with just trails. And sometimes you'll be walking along and the sidewalk just ends, or it's in major disrepair. And so I think having a map would not only help with navigation, but also it would give us a picture of how much needs to be done. So yeah, that's what I'm starting off with, but thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to you contributing more.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jenna. Any other public comments for items not on the agenda? Not seeing any hands raised or hearing voices, so I will move us on to item number 4, which is the Complete Streets Checklist Review for ATP 6 and OBAG 3 applications. And Dana gave us a bunch of information in the packet for us to review. Hope you all had a chance to do that. Dana, how would you like to proceed through this?
So I'll give a general overview and then turn it over to Shauna if she has anything to add to this. So Complete Streets checklists have are through MTC. The process has changed a bit this year and the checklist has changed this year, but you are all familiar with this review by the CBPAC. That has not changed. So essentially MTC requires a Complete Streets checklist for any funding that is discretionary through MTC or is endorsed by MTC for projects that are over $250,000. So what's included in this agenda are Complete Streets checklists for the Active Transportation Program Cycle 6, as well as for projects that are applying for the One Bay Area Grant Cycle 3 programs. There's a list of projects for both the ATP 6 and the OBAG 3 checklists with links to each checklist for each project at the bottom of the staff report, which is page 6 and 7 of your agenda packet. If hopefully you've all had a chance to review these checklists. I know there's a lot to go through, and if you haven't had a chance to thoroughly review them, we are asking that you provide comment no later than August 15th to the jurisdiction in charge of the application and copying SCTA so that we're aware of any comments that are coming through and whether we might need to bring this back to this committee. We don't anticipate any big issues with the checklist, but if we do need to bring it back to this committee, that would give us time to do that. And let's see. So it's essentially the Complete Streets checklist require that comments come in be documented in it. So that would also give the jurisdiction, the applicants, a chance to make any updates to their checklist with the comments they received incorporated. So I'll just ask Shauna now if there's anything that you want to add to that, to the process here, especially in terms of OBAG.
Yeah, you did a great job, Dana. Thank you. Just that these are a requirement of the applications for the One Bay Area Grant Cycle 3, and we are in the process of collecting those applications. As you know, we did a call for projects last year. We've been going through this process. We are now trying to identify the projects that are eligible and will be submitted for the competitive OBAG 3 funding. And a complete streets checklist is required as part of that submittal package. So it's also required that we afford the Countywide Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee the opportunity to review the complete streets checklists and provide comment back before we submit these to MTC as part of the overall submittal in September. So now is the time, and as Dana mentioned, if we could, if you don't feel as though you've had enough time to review it already, we will accept comments up until August 15th, although sooner is better. And then if you do have comments, please submit them to both SCTA and the jurisdiction.
Okay, thanks, Dana. Thanks, Shauna. I see Edie's hand raised.
It's a little thing, and I noticed it on my own submittal, and that is across. It's has a BPAC reviewed your project, and we've answered it variously, and I said, no, my BPAC has not reviewed. No, I said my BPAC has reviewed the project several times, but not this checklist, and so I need to put. Yes, the CBPAC has reviewed the checklist on whatever, July 26th. And I know most of the applications said that, but there are a few that didn't, or that said NA. So do we need to put that comment in our correction, or can we just correct it?
I think what you're asking is if you need to put the date of this committee meeting in the. And I think the answer is yes. If your jurisdiction's BPAC or BPAP has also reviewed the project, I would include both information about both meetings.
Okay.
But yes, the CBPAC review is, you can definitely put the date of this meeting here.
Okay, I will do that then. And I won't put that I commented that I need to put it on here and I'm responding to my comment. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, and I think that, people may have addressed it differently, either including a future date, or maybe they left it blank or put NA. So that's definitely something that would need to be updated.
Thank you.
So Dana, the countywide BPAC review fulfills the complete streets requirement. It doesn't necessarily have to go to the local jurisdiction's BPAC if they have one.
That's correct.
Okay.
I mean, you certainly can do both.
Okay, well, has everybody had time to review all the projects? Okay, good. I did have a chance to go through all of them, and just want to open it up to folks, or do we just, I don't think we want to go down the list one by one and ask for comments, but if anybody has any comments, now's your time. We have some folks from the public that are here. Do they have any questions about the projects? Okay, well, first of all, I had already reviewed a lot of these projects under OBAG 3 on behalf of Sonoma County Transit. I wear a couple different hats, so it's already familiar with a lot of these. But one that I wasn't familiar with was the ATP Petaluma River Trail Highway 101 crossing project, and wow, that's impressive. So that's going to be a pretty cool connection down in Petaluma. Did I read it right that it would go under the smart railroad tracks? connecting to the marina is,
Correct, and it's actually got that bit of infrastructure already installed. And,
Okay.
we'll figure out sea level rise and some of the other minor issues, but it's actually in there, and the city had paid for it. We seem to do that in various locations in town. We put in undercrossing. So, yeah, and this connectivity is really important to be able to get to downtown, to get to the transit hub, to get to all the businesses. And, the current, means for doing that is a very risky trip on Lakeville Highway. And, there's obviously been very significant crashes and deaths on that. So this is a great project. This will be the third time that's been submitted. So hopefully third time's the charm. Keep fingers crossed. Thanks.
yeah, a really, really neat project. Let's see, I know that for the committee that I staff, we focus on the unincorporated areas. And so there's 3 projects on the list that I was particularly interested in. And I guess one of them is a phase 2 and a phase 3 project for Mirabelle Road. And is there anybody from County Public Works here? County Public Works roads? I'm not sure I see anybody.
I don't think, Stephen, I don't think so. Much of the project is in partnership with regional parks on Mirabelle Road, and providing class 1 where we have the right-of-way width, and then TPW providing class 2 where there's not width available for the trail. So ultimately it's making the connection, and ultimately the connection will be to the Russian River.
Right, and so the phase 3, my understanding is that that's the class 1 pathway part of it between 116 downtown Forestville and the Forestville Youth Park.
Right.
And phase 2 is the class 2 all the way down between 116 and River Road. And so I just had a couple questions about the class 2. I know you probably you're not familiar with the class 2 aspect of it, Elizabeth. So, shoot. And then Todd Road, I just wanted to let everybody know that we did review this also through our local BPAC, and they did have some comments on right turn only lanes on Todd Road at the intersection. And if they did do right turn only lanes, to do the class 2 bike lanes to the left of the right turn only lane. And since that time, Public Works did an additional study that said that right turn only lanes on Todd Road at that intersection actually aren't warranted. I think W-Trans did a study. And so other than that, the committee that I staff was pleased with the design, and they're going to include class 2 bike lanes with it, connecting to the future smart pathway to the east. So I think it'll be a nice improvement. We also have a bus stop in the vicinity. We're going to have a sidewalk improvement to that bus stop, that existing bus stop. So that's a good project. I see Nancy's hand raised. Nancy, did you have a question or comment? Nancy? Well, Nancy apparently can't hear me. I do see in the chat that Jenna Scott asked if the bike lanes on Todd Road would be buffered, and the answer to that is no. My understanding is they don't have adequate right-of-way for buffered bike lanes. So it'll just be your traditional class 2 bike lanes on Todd Road signalization project.
Sorry, this is Nancy. I lost my connection just temporarily. I actually have a question. I kind of looked at, these all seem like they're really great projects, and I don't know enough about, each one of these specific locations, but I did look at just really the framework of this checklist and kind of zeroed in on a few elements, like, for example, if they were on a high injury network, or if they were in proximity to mobility hubs, and or within a mobility hub, and then are they in an equity priority community? And just kind of observation, there aren't many that really fit all those bills. So I just wondered, when MTC is looking at that, these individual applications, and this is actually the first time I've really seen a lot of the details on these projects. How much do they look at some of that? I think those are pretty important criteria. And just so that's a question. And then I have a specific question on the Petaluma projects. They don't actually, the checkbox have been removed from that equity question about equity priority communities. Has actually been removed. So I'm not sure, are they or not in an equity priority community area? So that's the specific for Petaluma. So that's it for me.
Yeah. Nancy, I can answer that. So they are not in an equity priority community there. So.
Yeah, so maybe that needs to be clarified on it, because I think Santa Rosa really is the only area in the north. I think there's a part of some unincorporated that's an equity priority community. So Chris is on the phone, but I don't think beyond that there's many other areas in the county. So, but Chris could weigh in. I don't know. That was my read on the map.
Yeah, I'd have to check the map, Nancy. I can do that.
Yeah, the only other equity priority community is out by Guerneville.
I was going to say, there are only 2 equity priority communities in the county.
So then I guess that my first question is, how does this all fit into, MTC's assessment? Because those, to me, those are pretty important. You check the box and you're golden. So anyway, just a question.
Well, I suppose the answer is you don't get as many points.
And I should clarify, the only thing we're talking about here today is the review of the complete streets checklist. We're not talking about picking projects for funding or MTC scoring criteria. It's just a review of the checklist.
Yeah, I understand, but so I'm just asking the question, right? So, but I understand it's a package.
Okay, well, although I had questions about Mirabel Road, I mean, I work for a different division in the same department, so I feel pretty confident that they'll work with myself and the members of the bike advisory committee that I staff to answer our questions on Mirabel Road, and make sure the appropriate class 2 bike lanes are provided.
Yeah, and Steve, I believe the intent is to do class 2 on the entire limits. We're reaching out to TPW to see if we can get some clarification, but it's class 2 and then parallel class 1 up to the park.
I didn't hear you. Sorry, David.
I believe the plan is to do class 2 bike lanes all the way from 116 to the park and then have the parallel class 1. But we're reaching out to TPW for clarification.
Right, I think, yeah, it's class 2, I think, from 116 all the way to River Road.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, I think that's just clarification is needed, yeah. That's really all the comments I have based on my committee's jurisdiction. Everything, I mean, all the projects are really good. Really going to make some nice improvements for bikes and peds and as well as transit. Any other comments or questions?
I see Elizabeth has her hand up.
It's hard to see my hand raised. I
Oh,
see
it is.
it's nested in front of the logo there, so I apologize for the graphic, but just a general comment. This is exciting to see all of these projects throughout the county and most of the jurisdictions participating in this call for projects. So I'm very pleased to see all of this, and thank you everybody for the very hard work that goes into all of these and making Sonoma County a better place to move around without a vehicle.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Ken, you have your hand raised? You're on mute, Ken.
Thank you. I wanted to ask SCTA, I guess, probably David or Sean, if they have any inkling of where MTC is going to go. What do we think is the most likely way that this will all play out? So thanks. It requires batteries. Yeah, no, for the OBAG 3 funding projects. Well, and yeah, and ATP. Is there? Can you give any sort of a sense of where things might go on it?
Well, let me address ATP first, unless David would like to. I think that, there's more money available in the ATP program, and that we are very hopeful that the state program will select our projects. Of course, the way that it works here in the Bay Area is if the state program does not select your projects are automatically submitted to the regional program, and the regional program has its own pot of ATP money. So we have sort of a fallback to have pretty high hopes for some funding through the ATP, either statewide or regionally. So that's great news. As far as OBAG 3 goes, we're still in the process. As you know, we've gone through the call for projects, which we did prior to when MTC released their guidelines. So then we've been through a number of iterations of project information that has been submitted to SCTA. We are in the midst of reviewing what has been submitted. We went through a process where we selected projects that we thought were eligible for STP and CMAQ funding, that's Surface Transportation Program, and Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Program funding. And we are reviewing the applications that we have received for those projects that we feel are eligible. We are still trying to determine which ones we will actually submit based on the applications that we received. And then we will have to make some adjustments to the rest of our program with some of the other funding that we have available to us, Go Sonoma and that sort. And SB1 funding, particularly the local partnership program funds. So how MTC will be going on this is going to be competitive, and it's going to be based on the criteria that are laid out in the guidelines. So I anticipate that there will be a focus on a lot of things that we haven't had to address before, or have been sort of addressed but not really spoken of. And I'm talking specifically about project delivery history and the rest of the compliance things. They are getting much more stringent about the compliance materials, the things that make you eligible. So you have to be in good standing with your pavement management program certification. You have to have you have to be complete with your housing element, and you have to submit that certification, your self-certification. You have to, so all of those compliance materials, I think, are going to play a bigger role than they have in the past. So that if you are not eligible or if you are not in compliance, then you're less likely to be considered. They're not going to rule you out because you have until, I think it's December 31st of 2023 in order to be compliant. But if you don't have that compliance at the time that the projects are submitted, I think that you will lose points for that. Not that they're going to rule you out, but you're not going to score as high. So that's my take so far. And that's why we're being so diligent in the reviews that we're doing and trying to make sure that we're selecting the projects that we feel are the most competitive to be successful on the regional scale.
Thank you.
Okay, Nancy, hands raised again. Nancy? Okay. Maybe the hand from Nancy is a mistake, so.
No,
Oh,
sorry.
it's not. Okay,
There's-
there you go.
Yeah, so Shauna, thanks. I was just I'm glad you talked about the project delivery record. So I know that hasn't really, been much of the conversation. So I'm glad you added that in your remarks just now. And so I do actually have a follow-up question. So I know that the North Bay counties, there's the PDA requirement, and I don't think I've ever heard whether or not Sonoma County has that. I think we're at only 50%. I think the other counties in the Bay Area have to have 70%. So have we met that threshold with the applications? And I don't think I've heard whether or not. So could you maybe
Short answer is
that
yes,
question?
we've met that threshold.
Okay, so so thank you, appreciate that.
Okay. I see Janice Thompson is at the meeting. Hi, Janice.
Hi there. Sorry for the late attendance. Was there a question for me?
I did have a quick question for you, just a point of clarification on the Mirabelle Road project. That the intent of that project was, in addition to the Class 1 pathway between 116 and the Forestville Youth Park, that there would be Class 2 bike lanes all the way from the intersection of 116 to the intersection of River Road.
Yes, you're correct. That's what we put in our application.
Okay. Good. Well, I appreciate that. And we're supportive of the project on behalf of the BPAC, the county BPAC. Those are my comments. Thanks, Janice. And anybody else who would like to chime in with comments or questions about any of the projects for Complete Streets checklist? Do you need a motion for approval, Dana?
We did have this as an action item. I just want to remind everyone, clarify that you can certainly submit comments to the jurisdictions by August 15th, if not sooner. And if there's a motion to approve, that doesn't prohibit you from coming up with comments that you would like to submit. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful clarification there.
That is helpful. Thanks, Dana. Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the checklist for the ATP projects and OBAG 3 projects on the list for the meeting today.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Wendy. Any additional comments, questions? Not seeing any hands raised or voices, so I think that is an approval. Thanks, everybody, for, I know that was a lot of information to review, and thanks for all the jurisdictions for all the work they put into the applications themselves and completing the checklists. That was real helpful, and we've got a lot of great projects. Hopefully that will move forward. Okay. Moving along to item 5 under planning. These just a couple, this is just informational items, Dana.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that everyone's aware that the MTC's Regional Active Transportation Network the final version was adopted. So thank you for all of you who gave input and to MTC on that, on the network. It was adopted just at this month's MTC meeting, planning committee meeting. And this will go into MTC's Regional Active Transportation Plan as an element of it. So just wanted to provide that as information.
A question.
Yeah, Wendy.
If it's all right. The city of Sonoma has a change to the project list. Is that what you're asking for comments from us by the 28th of August? Or was I looking at the wrong agenda item?
Are you, oh, I'm sorry. That's actually 5.3.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we'll get to that.
Okay. Should we move on to Vision Zero? More information? Dana?
Chris will take this.
Oh, Chris. Great.
Yeah, just a really quick update. Had a chance to update the Vision Zero data dashboard to include 2021 provisional data from Switters and Tim's. So you'll see all the most up-to-date information on the data dashboard and the accompanying story map. So just wanted to let everyone know that that's up to date as of 2021.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Nancy's hand is up. Nancy?
Yeah, I'm going to take this chance to find out what jurisdictions have already taken their Vision Zero item to their councils, or Janice is on the phone, the Board of Supervisors. So I think Ken's already taken his, so I got that one, and I think Healdsburg is. So is anybody else taking the Vision Zero item to their council? If you could weigh in, that'd be great.
Nancy, this is Janice from the county, and we have not.
Okay, are you going to? Just curious.
We're still trying to define and understand the definition of formal adoption.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay.
Hi, this is Rafael with the City of Cloverdale. Yeah, we're taking it to the council tomorrow night to adopt the Sonoma County plan.
Nancy, Roanoke Park will be doing it at the same time as our LRSP, so August. I think at this point it might be late August.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Edie. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're going tonight, and we're doing the same thing, Edie. We're putting our Vision Zero item, pairing it with our local road safety plan. So, yeah. So like Petaluma and Healdsburg, you guys have already adopted it. Has there been any conversations about next steps on really how you guys are going to implement it at a local level? So this is really kind of directed to Ken, and I don't know who the rep is on Healdsburg today, but Ken, have you guys had any? And the reason why I'm asking is because our bike and ped board, we had this conversation last Thursday, and they are very gung ho about getting, kind of our Santa Rosa plan together and proposal to try to figure out how to implement that. So I told them I would check with the cities that have already adopted the plan and see, what you guys are doing. So I don't know, Ken, are you doing anything yet or not?
Well, I've been using it in staff reports, and it's obviously going into our active transportation plan. It's an integral part of any active transportation grant funding. I use it in combination with the LRSP to help prioritize projects. We don't have like a formal process for that, but I feel like there's a kind of a good weaving of fabric here to really bring all these different elements together in a holistic way, so that we justify the projects we're doing, we justify where we spend money, and it's also just the vernacular, just saying, hey, Vision Zero, we have, provide a little bit of vision to, the work that we're doing in active transportation. And so that's sort of a quick off the cuff answer to that question, Nancy.
Okay, that's helpful. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And Nancy, for Healdsburg, it's also facilitated our grant application as far as prioritizing the complete streets projects, but I'm not aware to date of conversations about next steps.
Okay, yeah, that's helpful. Yeah, we've got a very engaged board on this one, so I just, they have some vision, so I wanted to see what other folks are doing. So I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
And Janet?
Hey, Stephen, this is Janet. So I'm going to put it in the chat, but there is a grant opportunity that SCTA is trying to get a collaboration of all of you. It's Safe Streets for All. Maybe you've heard of it. It's a US DOT federal funds to fund either a Vision Zero action plan, which we've already done, or to implement the projects that are in the Vision Zero action plan. So for everybody who has a project in the Vision Zero action plan, I think it's a good opportunity for us to all collaborate and come up with a countywide program of projects to apply for under the same umbrella. It's a nationwide grant. So I don't know what our chances are, but they're certainly better if we work together. And like I said, I'll put that into the chat right now. And I think this will come up in the next TAC meeting. I believe we'll be discussing it there as well.
Okay, good. Thanks, Janet. Any other comments about Vision Zero? Thanks, Chris, for the update. And moving on to 5.3, Countywide Active Transportation Plan, review of existing facilities.
Right, so at our last meeting, we talked about the grant that was awarded to SCTA to develop a countywide active transportation plan, as well as a number of jurisdiction level plan updates. In preparation for this, which we're expecting to receive the funding in November, and in the meantime, we would like to make sure that our existing facility map is up to date. So we are asking you to take a look, all the jurisdictions to take a look at the bicycle and pedestrian facility web map that is linked in the staff report on page 8 of your agenda, as well as the plan project list. And if you see a plan project that you know is complete on the list, if you could get that information to us, and also in reviewing the web map to see if there's any facilities that are complete that are not marked as complete on that web map. We are working on a version of the web map that allows you to turn on and off the planned facilities map so that you could more easily see the existing facilities. And we'll let you know when that is ready. So right now it's just both layers on there. So we are asking that you let us know of any new existing facilities that are not on the map or any corrections by August 29th. And you could submit those updates to Chris Barney. His email is in the staff report in the agenda packet. This will allow us to have the documentation ready for a consulting team to review and include in their analysis when we do get someone on board. So we are just trying to get all of our data up to date. We're not asking for any updates to planned facilities at this time. That will be during the process of the active transportation plan development. So we're really just asking for updates on existing facilities. Does anyone have any questions on this process?
Yeah, I just have a quick comment. The version of the map that you can turn proposed routes off is ready. So I'll go ahead and drop a link to that in the chat.
That was quick. Thanks, Chris.
You just did that in the last couple of minutes, Chris? That's amazing.
Okay, so I'm seeing that. Oh, okay. Well, yes, it does look like the link in the agenda packet is no longer working. But the link that Chris just put in the chat is working. So yeah, please save that link. And we could send an update via email as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Via email too. Thanks, Dana. Okay, any questions about countywide plan, beginning that process? I don't see any hands. So let's move on to item 6, regional funding. More informational items. Dana?
Yes, these are all informational items. 6.1 is the Regional Active Transportation Program Cycle 6, just a list of applications that were received for the Bay Area region. Fairly informational, but if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to jump in. All right. And through the chair, would you like me to move on to the next item here?
Yes,
Okay.
please. Thanks, Dana.
Great. So 6.2 is just an informational item about state budget opportunities for active transportation. We just included a memo from MTC kind of outlining transportation funding in the state budget for fiscal year 22-23. On page 3 of that memo, it describes the increased funding for the active transportation program. 1.05 billion has been added to that. And also has some information about the new funding program called Reconnecting Communities. My understanding for this increase to the active transportation program is that there's been support for adding it to the current cycle, and that the TTC will be discussing that at their August meeting. So so that program may get a large increase this cycle. And that's all I have, unless anyone has anything they want to
add. Ken?
Yeah, I just was looking at on that page 3 of the MTC OBAG legislation committee agenda item. I'm just kind of thinking ahead on this. I mean, you know, 1.05 billion, it's a good chunk of change for active transportation. And one of the things that, you know, a number of our communities have going on is kind of remnants of the old highway, you know, 101. And I'm thinking of Petaluma Boulevard North, and it's just such a funky place to try to, if you're a vehicular cyclist, you can ride it and it's fine, but it's just not very pleasant. And you know, so I'm just thinking out loud on that particular item, and I'm sure in other communities would have similar situations. So thanks.
I see a comment from Alexa about the information about reconnecting communities portion of the grant. So this is also discussed in the memo, page 3 of MTC's memo that's attached to the agenda. If you're looking at the agenda PDF, it's page 15 of the PDF. So under active transportation funding boosted and reconnecting communities pilot program, there's some information about the reconnecting communities, highways to boulevards pilot program under Caltrans. And that's $149 million allocated to that program.
Okay. Thanks, Dana. Are we on item 7 now?
Oh, you know, there's one more in the regional funding. It's also an information item. And that is the quarterly status report for the Transportation Development Act, Article 3, and Transportation Fund for Clean Air Projects. This status report is through fiscal year 2022, quarter 4. The first page of the report is for the Transportation Development Act, Article 3 projects. There are 2 projects highlighted there in red. The funding expired at the end of the fiscal year 22. I believe that those projects are complete and just awaiting invoicing to MTC. But please make sure, if that's your project, Petaluma and Santa Rosa, that those invoices are submitted to MTC no later than August 31st.
Dana, this is Nancy.
Yes.
I just signed the invoice today, so
okay,
it's on its way for the full amount.
Great. Good to hear. And then the second page of the report is the Transportation Fund for Clean Air Projects. And there are a number of projects that have funding expirations at the end of this calendar year. Those are bus transit projects, and those operators are aware of those expiration dates.
Okay. Thanks for those updates, Dana. And now we can move on to item number 7. Updates. I think we're just going to do a roundtable. What do we want to start with? Ken, do you mind? City of Petaluma?
No. So I mentioned at the start, we had the Ciclovia last weekend, and that was really successful. Got a lot of people coming down on Smart from the north, from Sonoma, and so that was the first one in Sonoma County. So let's hope there's more on that realm. We've got, a bike boulevard that we're doing the public outreach in the next month, and that'll be on 5th Street. We've mostly completed the road diet on Petaluma Boulevard South. So coming into town there, now we want to get people safely off as it narrows up on Petaluma Boulevard, get them off onto the bike boulevard or down along 1st or 2nd Street. So that works moving forward. And then I'm going to be getting data on our traffic circle once school gets in session August 16th, and then do some traffic counts on that and speed data, and then harden that and respond to all the other people that want similar devices in their neighborhoods. Everybody wants to calm the traffic, so it's no shortage of people in that realm. And then we've got the Cool Block program, and these are neighborhood groups that have come together for climate action. And what's exciting is they've got a real interest, and for me, kind of it's a gold mine to be able to people that have an interest in walking, biking more, and are coming together in their community to move that forward and trying to find ways to help them out. And then I want to announce that Bjorn Griepenberg has unfortunately for Santa Rosa has left. I wish I tried to hire him. It was kind of before I was a traffic engineer, but I apologize, Santa Rosa, Nancy. No hard feelings, but he's going to be joining in mid-August here, City of Petaluma. So thank you very much, Chair.
So this is Nancy. Through the chair, if you don't mind, I've got another commitment that I need to jump off. So if I have the group of indulgence for me to do my update,
Sure.
then yeah. So my update is I now have an active transportation planner position to fill. So if you know anyone, send them to our job announcement, and hopefully I'll get a new recruitment to fill that position. And no hard feelings, Ken. It's all good, right? That's it for me.
Thanks, Nancy.
No problem.
Thanks, Nancy. Stephen had to step out for just a moment. So Ben, would you like to give an update on Healdsburg next?
Nothing this time to report.
All right. How about Windsor?
I also don't really have a lot to report at this point, although I'll have to say we rejected all bids on the crosswalk enhancement project because it came in really high. So we're going to try to rebid it in the future. So I don't know if anybody else out there has had any problems with high bids lately. And Nancy's gone. I was going to ask her how her scooter program was going, but she's gone now. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Mona. Hey, Wendy, would you like to give an update on Sonoma?
Sure. So I'm so excited that our Fire Creek Bridge is finally under construction after millions and millions of years, and it's scheduled to be completed by the end of September. That's all I have.
Congratulations. All right, let's see. I think that, oh, Edie, would you like to give an update on Roanoke Park?
If you like scrambles, we will probably have one done by next month. This is on Southwest and Communicatio. I think we have one diagonal pretty much striped, but this is the request of the community and the school there, because no one likes to stop for kids. But if everyone is stopped, then people will notice that everyone is stopped. Other than that, Southwest Complete Streets. So this is the Complete Streets project between the roundabout and Adrian Drive. The council, we had community input, and the council has chosen an option. That's 2 bike lanes, sidewalk widening, new sidewalk and sidewalk widening. I think staff had hoped that it would be a wider multi-use sidewalk bike path thing on the south side, but that didn't get chosen. So anyway, that'll proceed. It'll be, it'll have LID and that sort of thing. But that's pretty much it. We'll see next month. Maybe there'll be more to report on something like also the trail to Crane Creek Regional Park. Maybe we'll be started by then. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Edie. Let's see, are there any updates from SMART?
Dana, well, yes, the probably the news here, and I don't know if this was passed last time, but we got funding to build out the station for North Petaluma, and as well funding for the pathway to take it from Petaluma up to Pengrove.
All right, thanks, Chris.
If I could interject, Chris, is there any the work on the South Point, opening up South Point, any news on that, or the section Lakeville to Payran, that other section, any news on that, or the Water Street section too? Actually, 3 different items. Sorry, get them all.
Yeah. So the Water Street and the Lakeville to Payran, I don't have anything on that yet. Let me I'll talk to Bill about that one. The South Point section, we're waiting to hear from Caltrans when they open that back up. We're expecting that to happen hopefully within the next month or so, but I'll certainly let you know if we hear something.
Yeah, because they were talking about if it didn't open up by October of this year, it goes all the way over to June. And I've got no shortage of people asking me about it, and a council member. So,
right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe the county is the last to give an update.
Thanks, Dana. I don't have any updates from Sonoma County Regional Parks, except for what you've been reading in the paper, and it's all in the paper about Joe Rodota Trail. So that's all I have for today. Thank you.
And on behalf of the Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, our most recent focus has been updating their list of shoulder sweeping segments throughout the county. They put a project list together 2-3 years ago, and it's ready to be updated. So I'll be working with them over the next month to do that. And Public Works contracts, I think, with Recology to do shoulder sweeping throughout the county. I can't think of anything else on the roadside for Public Works. And we got everybody else, Dana. Sorry, I had to take a quick break there. So we went around the table. Everybody chimed in?
I believe everybody's chimed in.
Okay.
Thanks.
Good, okay. Well, thanks everybody. And moving on to 7.2, the shared micromobility update.
So for the regional program, we are on hold due to supply chain and industry issues. Hopefully we'll have an update on the program at our next meeting, but we are on hold for the time being. But as we missed Nancy for an update on the scooters in Santa Rosa, but if maybe we could hear from Mona and Ben about shared micromobility in your jurisdictions, that would be great. And if anybody else has anything that they wanted to add here as well.
So we're still waiting for authorization to proceed, but we're hoping to get that soon from Caltrans. Waiting patiently.
So far, it seems really going well. We've had, you know, the usual complaints. They're left sometimes on the sidewalks, but I haven't gotten any updated data recently. But because I think it's new, it's very popular, especially on the Thursday nights when we have our Town Green concerts. But maybe the next time we meet, I'll try to dig in and get some data that I can report out. I think that's it.
Okay, I think that's it for updates. If unless there's any additional questions, comments, seeing none, and we can go on to. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the end of updates. We've got 7.3, the bike and pedestrian counters. Sorry, Chris, do you have an update for that?
I think this is just a standing item. Just a reminder that we have the equipment. If you would like to collect counts, let us know so we can get them reserved. I know Ken at the City of Petaluma, we have a reservation for you. So yeah, try and get that lined up if you want to do any counts this fall. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So on to item 8, other business comments, announcements from anybody. Okay. Well, our next meeting is scheduled for September 27th. So everybody enjoy the rest of your summer. Thanks all for being here.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks,
Okay.
Stephen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you later.